Okay, we're live. Super excited today. I have my friend Juan with me today, and he has let me interview him to share his story of hope. My name's Tammy Lynn Connors. Welcome to the podcast of Hope, helping other people evolve. My mission here is just to give people hope in any direction of life. You know, we're all in different areas of our life, different parts of our life, but when I hear a story of hope, I just want to share it with everybody. So, it was probably about 3 years ago, I think, maybe 2019 or
It's three.
18, 3 years ago. I was at an event and a couple of my friends were sharing the loss of their children from overdoses. And somebody said, well, who's going to share their story of hope tomorrow, which it was the Overdose Awareness Day. And they said, Juan. And that is the day that I got my actual words for this hope for helping other people evolve. So I feel like Juan is a big part of the story. He's a big part of my podcast, and his story really enlightened me. I didn't know a lot about the overdose epidemic, basically. I knew a lot about drugs and things, but I didn't realize how bad the opiates really were at that time. Since then, I've had a niece that actually has overdosed, and she's in a recovery house. She had no oxygen to her brain for about 12 minutes, and she's doing okay. She's actually, I talked to her the other day, and I said, I'm so happy that you're here because we don't have to worry about you anymore.
Oh,
We
so
don't have
good.
to worry about the streets and what she was doing. So she's happy. Might have a mentality of a 12-year-old, even though
That's
she's
all
going to be
right.
30, but she is as happy as could be.
That's how we
So
come in.
there you go. So what I just really want, maybe to start out, whatever is best for you, whether to start out where you're at now or where it all began.
Oh man, where it all began. I mean, is that getting sober? Where it began?
Yeah.
Getting sober. It all began with family members as well. Team Recovery's FAD meeting in Toledo, Families After Addiction or Death. My mom started going to these meetings, support group meetings, and just learned about how to be in a relationship with people in addiction, suffering with addiction, how not to enable and all the stuff, get through it and heal on her own. And eventually I ended up at one of those meetings, and I asked for help at that meeting. My mom was crying. I remember looking over at my mom, and I was sitting there with her and my son's mother, and my mom was just crying. And I remember thinking, like, she's thinking about me dying and her being here. And somebody at the time, right before that, shared about, they're telling their grandchild that their parent died. And I remember thinking, like, wow. And a good friend of mine before that, even furthermore, now we're dear friends, Ross Horton, spoke about his daughter, Shalonda, and hearing him speak about that, amongst other things in his story, just really opened my heart up in a way that I found hope, courage, and desperation. And I just wanted to get better. For me, it was pretty quick. I didn't know what it meant to live. I was 13 years old too,
Oh,
you know, and got sober, and I felt like an infant. But I really wanted to live. Yeah, and that's still where I'm at today. I try to keep that in my heart. Um, Ever present is my desire to live, not just for the sake of my own life and my child and my family and for the experience of living, which is such a gift, but also because of the blessing of like grace. And I get to do things today. And so I find a lot of purpose in living my life for people that aren't here anymore, or for people who are here still and maybe their loved ones aren't. And for me to attach myself to some form of courage with that and say, I'm jumping out of a plane, or I'm going kayaking, or I'm walking, or whatever it is, because why not?
right,
Why
right.
not?
So did you get sober at 13, or was that your
No, that
mentality
was
at
my
13?
mentality.
Okay. I just
No,
wanted to make sure on that because then I was like, wait,
yeah.
no. So, because I don't really know your whole story. Now, I
Uh-huh.
do know the story of when you talked about hearing Ross's story. Ross has told me that.
Yeah.
He might have explained that you were in kind of a weird looking outfit when you were
Man, I was
sitting next to
busted.
him.
I was busted. I was in bad shape. I was off the streets. Pants had blood. Heroin addict for 14 years straight. Heroin addiction, opiate addiction, I should say. And I just had no clothes. I had no clothes. I had nothing. My shoes were fried. My hair was fried. My beard was mangy and nasty. Yeah, I was in bad shape.
Yeah.
I was 32, so my sobriety date, the day that that happened at FAD, was February 16th of 2016, and on February 18th is when I got into treatment.
Okay.
So it's been over 5 years now.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
And it's awesome. And that's what, I sit and somebody would see, Juan on the street and be like, it's cool, clean cut guy, but we don't know what people have went through with struggles. We look at people every day like, oh yeah, or maybe they have a frown on their face. We don't know what people are going through. And I'm sure that I can't imagine the
yeah,
the streets, the life that you lived, and I can't imagine how people actually like looked at you,
yeah.
you
It was
know?
rough.
Yeah.
It was rough. I'm a extroverted person naturally. Just my tendency is I love to express myself through affection, affirmations, and associating, dealing with, interacting with people. And I was isolated for a very long time, and definitely felt the separation between me and the rest of society. And I guess I can understand it, but at the same time, it's lonely. I never imagined I would be where I was, and a lot of times, I mean, it's lonely. It was lonely.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't think much of myself, and the world. It felt like the world didn't think much of me either. You know, it was
So
hard.
can I ask you this? Well, I'm going to ask you, we'll see if you answer me. What did you start like with opiates? Is that how you started, or how did your
Yeah,
addiction kind of really start?
man. I mean, I just got that mentality. The first time I drank, the first time I drank, I drank in excess. I blacked out the very first time. The second time I blacked out, I was beer bonging screwdrivers at 15 years old. The first time I smoked weed, I was blacking out. I lost my virginity actually the first time I smoked weed and got high,
Wow.
and I don't remember it. Opiates just grabbed a hold of me. They were what got a hold of me, and that the first time I really knew that I liked opiates was I was a sophomore in high school and I had my teeth pulled, and by senior year they became recreational. I was seeking them out, looking to find them, and within a year I was addicted to them.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. It happens quick.
yeah,
I
it was
was
fast.
just actually talking to a friend of mine who she just had her Achilles tendon torn, and she had to have
Mm,
surgery, and then she just had surgery again, and this time they gave her Percocet and Dilaudid.
man,
I said, "Girl, you be careful with that. I know you're not an addict, but just be
yeah,
careful because
it'll get you.
that's what happens." And I've heard so many stories of that. I
Hmm.
was the same way. Like I 12 years old, I started drinking and should have known then that I should,
Hmm.
stop. My drug of choice was not opiates, but I did a lot of opiates. Thank God I didn't go farther
Hmm.
than that. So, when I do this podcast, what I'm really is to hear a story, but also then to hear the strength
Yeah,
and the hope, because I know that.
yeah.
So in 2015 you said you got started?
16.
16. You felt hopeless for
Yep,
sure,
yep,
tired, sick, broken, hopeless. And
yeah,
it's hard, and I would imagine for a man it's probably harder to just
yeah.
like humble yourself and say like, man, I was completely wrecked.
Hmm.
But you had, I just call them guardian angels or whatever you want to say, with Ross sharing his story and looking
Hmm.
at that brokenness in him,
Hmm.
and thinking and looking at your mom crying and being
Yeah.
like, I can't do this anymore to them or to myself.
Hmm.
A lot of times I know people say, you don't get sober for somebody else, you get sober for yourself. And I truly believe that, but I also believe it can be for somebody
Yeah,
else.
me too.
Like when the day I decided to quit drinking, I knew that I probably had a month to live. And it wasn't so much me having a month to live, because at that point I was pretty dead anyways, I
Right.
felt like. But I had a 14-year-old son that was sitting in
Yeah.
another room that I said, I can't die because of him.
Yep.
So that is what was like my anchorage. But I just, if you could like maybe share a little bit. I know you're doing so much in this community right now, and you have
Cool.
great thing with Team Recovery. And I know this weekend we have the Angel Walk. This is actually going to be on Tuesday after the Angel Walk.
Sweet.
But yeah, so but if you could just share a little bit of
Yeah.
like what you got going on with Team Recovery, and I know you guys all have like this massive, like maybe jumping out of airplane things and
Yeah.
just all kinds of cool stuff. So if you just
There's
want to
good stuff
give a little
happening.
bit about what's going on with that, and then we can just,
Yeah.
end it with that.
Yeah, I think I would like to preface, first of all, December 14th is the day that I really asked for help. December 14th of 2015, I was in a situation that I was really desperate, homeless on a back porch. Um, Death was knocking on my door, my son's mother's door. And on that day, I prayed for the first time in many years. And the answer came. The prayer was answered, but on God's time, and that day on the 16th was absolutely a divine appointment, um, set up and coordinated by something much more creative and loving than myself. I don't doubt that for a second. But since then, life's wild. I I'm the type of person that when I feel an ideal or a sentiment or an idea, if I create a vision around something, whether it's real or false, to me, I bring it in and I turn it into a feeling, an emotion, a mindset, and it becomes a reality. And so, Team Recovery represented a community. It represented a mission and a cause that resonated with my heart. And from day one, it was about being a servant. From day one, I love helping people. I feel called to do that. Um, and I've aggressively pursued that from that first day. Um, from day one, I was telling them I'm a member of Team Recovery, whether you know it or not, and this is what I'm doing. And it wasn't just about Team Recovery; it was about humans. It's about humans for me. It's about trying to open my heart and my mind, my spirit to loving humans and meeting people where they're at to the best of my ability. And throughout that time, I have and we have with Team Recovery have done so much amazing stuff. And today, today it's crazy. I've really allowed myself and gave myself permission at times to do things very non-traditionally. To step in and out of professions and jobs, and servant leadership has always been um, primary. It's always been what's of paramount importance to me. And so for me, it might not always make sense to other people what I'm doing. It might seem irrational, but in my heart, um, I've kind of made decisions that have been really good for me that seem really fucking weird. Like I'm gonna quit this job, or I'm gonna do this thing, or I'm gonna do that, and it's like, and it's all purposeful to me. And I'm glad I didn't overly explain myself to other people, because a lot of people are like, "Man, you're making mistakes right now." But really, I felt God creatively flowing through me and the community. And today, it's wild. With Team Recovery, me and Matt and the rest of the Team Recovery right now, we have this approach right now, and the slogan is, the Team Recovery is a new approach to an old problem. I remember me and Matt driving to Detroit Airport years ago, and that just came in the conversation. Like, yo, we're a new approach to an old problem, and we were just going back and forth like me and him do. And so it's like, for me, I'm trying to see what's traditionally being happening, and as far as whether it's treatment or how somebody's being helped, and for me to look at the gaps and what we actually need to fill those gaps. And my mind works programmatically. I think of a program or a need, and my head would automatically start being like, "Oh, this is what we can do." And there's a system in place that's really good and it serves really good purpose. And I appreciate it for what it is. But who I am is somebody who likes to create different systems, or to look at the system as it is and say, I don't think this is good. So it's advocacy. I'm an advocate at heart, so I can be an asshole to people that are, on the other end. But now it's developing. We get to develop, and we're going skydiving on the 30th with a group of people at Tecumseh Skydive. People in recovery, that aren't in recovery. I don't care who you are. If you want to feel alive, please come. For me, I dedicate everything to somebody somewhere, and attach sentiment to it. And so a lot of people are coming with somebody on their heart. We have recovery housing with Team Recovery right now, 56 beds. we have yeah, it's great. We have 36 male beds and 20 female. 20, 28. Yeah, yeah. So we have 28 female beds actually, but and it's really cool. We have three-quarter housing, so right now it's just really about creating a culture and a community. For me as the director over there, me and Matt, our intention is to like really help them find who they are and to give them, after they go through treatment, give them the choice. It's your choice. You know what you're supposed to do now, and I'm not going to tell you what that is, but I'm going to support you as you move forward.
Mhm.
You know, and we're going to find agreements that we can both mutually agree upon, and that'll be the standard that we go by versus me trying to tell you what you need to do or what I want you to do. You know, there's a fine line there, but it's like, hey man, like courage is right here and it's necessary if you want to have the life that you're looking for. And so, you know, we try to really put them in a place of authority and a position of power within themselves and their community. And um, you know, we're trying to create programming. We're working with them to create a subcommittee like we had with Team Recovery early on, planning events, just doing tons of stuff in the community, and that's all happening really fast right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really this beautiful process is happening right now, just super organically, and with the only effort required is passion and the choice to say yeah.
Yeah.
And it's going for it. There's not a part in my spirit that says that goodness isn't going to come in abundance right now. I'm blown away. I don't know
No,
what's happening.
it's great because I've been seeing a lot on like Facebook. I've been like seeing the team recovery and the different pictures of this was this person before and this is how they're doing now.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, there's some kind of fire going right now with team
There
recovery.
is.
And like on Friday nights, there's like this bonfire
Yeah.
thing that everybody's getting around and sitting around, and I'm like, that's so cool. It's so powerful because here's what I feel. And a lot of times, even when you do get sober, man, you still feel like you're that alone.
Yeah.
Right? You're the only one that feels this way.
Oh, man.
And that's why this is why another reason why I'm doing Hope, because you're not the only person that feels that way, man. There's and the other thing that I like to say is you're where you're at right now, but you still have struggles.
Oh man.
You know, we still have
Serious.
daily struggles. And that's what
Serious
people
struggles.
think. They look at my life or Juan's life
No.
or Matt's life or, you know, Ross's life, and they're like, oh, they got it all together. Everything's great. Look
Yeah.
at them. No, it's not like that.
Yeah.
We still have struggles. And things like this is what you need. You need that camaraderie. Thank you. That word. You need that. You need those
Yeah.
people, and you need the people that will, like Juan said earlier, he said he received grace. And that's huge. And that's what we need to offer everyone is just grace for what we go through, what we've
Yeah.
been through. You know, I'm a total non-judgmental person, man, because my life story, I'm writing a
Right.
book right now. And let me tell you what, I'm in the 10th grade in my book, and it's like, woo-hoo.
Yeah.
This is a story. I told my son yesterday, I'm like, you probably don't need to read my book, okay?
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's true, but it's the facts, and it's just to let people know that, you know, we're here, we've struggled, we've got to our strengths, and we're still getting stronger. And that's what I think is huge. And I know with Juan, I've been wanting to interview him for so long because I know that your story is so powerful and it'll reach so many people. But I also know that this gives people, and especially in the Toledo area, you know, this is somewhere you can reach out to. You know, this is a group of people that care. And I love the fact that you guys really care. You know, I've seen people out there that they don't care. It's all about this, and let's throw them some Suboxone and some methadone and every day, and that's not what you guys are about.
I don't care what you're going through, and I think the majority of the people, especially like, you know, within the community, you know, I'm not perfect. I don't do perfect by myself or people all the time, but my posture is to be helpful to people. And I want to be of maximum service to people. In team recovery, I believe that, you know, our posture overall is to be inclusive and not exclusive. You know, again, this is a deep intention for us. Do we always excel and live up to it? No, but we do work very hard to have that. You know, that the Friday night fire meetings, that's big. You know, because there is an air of exclusivity. You know, this clique here, this people here, and that goes throughout life and for people, whether they're in recovery or out of recovery, however it looks. And it just so happens that in, you know, for us, loneliness is a little bit different. And so I try to really pour that intention into the community, into the culture that we're creating right now. You know, I always laugh and I tell people, you know, like, hey man, touch each other's hands, like shake each other's hands, have some courage, get to know each other. You might not, like, it's good. And try to bring people. I don't care where you're from. I don't care what treatment center you're from. I don't care if you're on Suboxone, you're on methadone, if you're on what medication's on, if you're high, you're not high. Like, come on.
Right.
Like, come get some goodness, because it's goodness that I'm trying to serve. We're trying to serve a platter of goodness. And so what do you want to do, you know? And that's where we're at, you know, with Team Recovery, is how do we find and meet the needs and to extend goodness? That's our posture.
I like that, platter of goodness.
It's a big
I'm
old
using that for my
buffet.
Good Morning post tomorrow.
Yeah.
A big old buffet, a
Come
platter
over.
of goodness.
You're gonna find a buffet with some hope, some faith, some courage.
Right, nice.
Let's identify what it is.
Absolutely, that's awesome. So Team Recovery, they can just like find that, Google it.
Yeah,
Best way to
www.theteamrecovery.org is our website, and you can call our hotline or phone line. So we're a referral source and an advocacy source. If you call 419-561-LIFE, that phone will go to myself or somebody else within the organization, and typically it's me right now. And whether you're a family member that's in need of helping your loved one, or if you're somebody in active addiction, then you're looking for treatment resources, or if you're somebody in recovery looking for support, if you call that phone line, it'll come to us. And again, it's advocacy, so we're trying to just spill our hearts into them and be of service. So you can call that, or you can email us at www.info@theteamrecovery.org.
Awesome.
And yeah, goodness is happening. If you want to go skydiving, we're doing the Team Recovery Leap of Faith. See us on Facebook or Instagram. Our Facebook has a lot of the details for the skydiving coming up. The deadline for the deposit is on the 15th. Right now, we're looking to try to fill 40 people to go, and I think we're going to easily meet that. And we're going to shut down Tecumseh Skydive, and we're going to have a morning check-in. We're going to have food. We're going to have cornhole. We're going to have hillbilly horseshoes. We're going to do the jump throughout the day. And in the evening, we're going to check back in with everybody. So it's going to be a big set of community, and we're just going to see what happens. And again, we're just trying to approach something differently. I don't care where you're from, what you're doing. If you want in, get a hold of us.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you so much. And here's something cool that I just think happened. Like, I was going to interview you last time. We just had some things that didn't mesh, but I feel like this was why it was supposed to be today. You could talk more about the jump, and just, you know how everything just works like that. And I'm excited because I get to see, well, when you guys hear this, I had already seen him on Saturday, but we're speaking at an event on Saturday together, and I think it's going to be awesome. And I just can't wait for the lives that are being changed, and the hope that we're giving people.
Yeah. Ross's Fact event is this weekend, and the Angel Walk, and I highly recommend people come out to that and support one another too, for sure. It's going to be great. Yeah.
I'm going to take a picture of us after this so I can start posting this blog and podcast, because everybody's going to be excited. So you guys all have an amazing, well, it's going to be Tuesday, but today is Tuesday.
It is.
And so, listen, my podcast is every other Tuesday, so that's why I was like, maybe I'll just launch this podcast today. Yeah. I mean, I could do that. Why not?
Why not?
Oh, shoot. Yeah, it's my podcast. I could do that.
Send it.
I'm sending it today. So today they're going to hear it. So then everybody needs to come to the Angel Walk on Saturday.
Yeah.
God bless everybody.
Love gang.